Hi, my name is Brian Paul. I'm a game cat. Meow. Welcome to Viewer Takeover.
I'm Brian Paul. Viewer Takeover. Meow.
This is Viewer Takeover. We film every Monday night and we bring it to YouTube sometime on Tuesday. No promises as to when. It could be morning, noon, afternoon, Wednesday. I mean, anything's pretty much possible when it comes to Viewer Takeover because I'm always strapped for time. As always, my name is Brian Paul from this channel right here, and also from this channel right here is AJ from this channel and PSVR Underground right there.
Sup?
Yeah. And over there is Dave from Dave Station VR.
How's it going?
It's going, man. It's going. I don't want to waste any time because I feel like we're going to have some longer discussions today. Some of these questions I think require longer responses. So let's get the ball rolling and thank a few people right off the bat. The first people we want to thank, Lipnox88 and Rypop, Game Cat Extraordinaires.
Dudes.
That Viewer Takeover
Hello,
intro.
I'm Brian Paul.
Yeah, actually, that was Brian Paul. What are you talking about?
Yeah, be careful what you wish for.
That
that was Brian Paul and Brian Paul. You know, that's how you know good old Rypop, Johnny Rypop, the stray cat, meow, has a good mama. Because he always listens to what he's told.
But yeah, if you guys want to introduce next week's Viewer Takeover, hey man, these guys kept it short, simple, sweet, just like I asked them to. Hey, my name's Brian Paul and I'm a Game Cat. You can use your own name from now on. You don't have to actually do that. And send it to withoutparole@gmail.com. The only thing I care about, man, I want to see the faces of the Game Cats, man. People like to do all this crazy production work. Keep it simple, man. Let's see your face. Withoutparole@gmail.com.
That's right.
However, Lipnox and Rypop are not the only people we want to thank, are they?
That's true. That's 100% true.
We also want to thank these people down here. These people. These are people who went to patreon.com/withoutparole.
Games.
And they're giving us $1 or more every single month. Hopefully it's not much to you, but it means the world to me, guys. I am actually selling my video game collection. I put the link to my eBay store on Twitter. If you follow me at That Would Be Dark, you can jump in there and help support the channel. I'm selling my games to keep the channel running. And so if you guys want to help keep the channel running.
That's some good ass games you got for sale. Go get that shit.
Right. If you don't want to just give your money away and get nothing in return, then you can buy some games on eBay, or you can get some Litterbox episodes by giving us $1 or more every month on Patreon. I love Carlos meowing in the background. I feel like there should be
I need to let
100 cats in the background. You want to go take care of that?
I can let him out.
All right, we'll start with the Game Cat name changes. So the other way you can support the channel is by changing your name to Game Cat. Game Cats, of course, are the loyal supporters of Without Parole. And so if you change your name to Game Cat, please put hashtag Game Cat somewhere in the comments on YouTube, of course, so we can find you and give you a shout out on next week's show. But who changed your name to Game Cat this week, AJ?
This week, Brian, we have 3 new Game Cats to welcome to the Game Cat Dojo. Starting with Fist of the Game Cat.
Hi. Ha.
Konnichiwa.
Fist bump of the Game Cat.
Great name. I assume that's based off the anime or something.
Like Fist of the North Star. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Then we have Winnipeg, the Game Cat.
It's about as Canadian as you get, right?
Yeah.
And it's pretty neat, too, because it's got all the numbers instead of
It
letters.
is, but I was able to decipher it.
Using your code-breaking skills.
Code breaking.
The next one, trying to code the next one. See if you
Next one I
get this
can.
one.
It is actually a code word for Charlie Roche Sr., but it's going to be C. Hashtag Ravens Pub Roche Sr. Hashtag Game Cat.
Well, you think
How you like them
this has to be the only Game Cat name out there with 2 separate hashtags?
Yeah. Double
Hey,
hashtag.
got to be unique.
What is Ravens Pub? I need to look up Ravens Pub.
Yeah, look it up real quick.
Isn't it?
Sounds like a good pub.
It sounds like a local brewery.
I can't find it.
Ravens Pub. I don't
The
know.
Raven Pub. There is a Raven Pub in like every city.
There you go.
Oh, there's one in Canada.
Also sounds
It's a
kind of
hidden story.
sounds
We
kind
will
of
find out.
Skyrim-like as well.
We'll preserve Charlie's mystique.
Nice. All right, so yeah, so guys, how do you get a viewer takeover question as part of the show?
There are
Well,
several
you
different
definitely-
ways.
Oh, okay. AJ knows. Let him know, AJ.
We all know we've
I'll
done
go
this
with,
1,000
I'll go with the
times.
first one, then I'll pass it off
Let
to
him
you.
know.
Number 1, you can go leave a comment on any video on this channel and just put hashtag viewer takeover and ask us a question because we love to read your questions and spark the conversation and get your feedback. And just chit chat with you. Dave, what other ways can they
you can also go to the Discord, which is linked in the description below, I assume. And the Discord is the place where everybody hangs out. So when you get in there, there's a whole channel dedicated just to viewer takeover questions. So just drop your stuff in there, and we'll find it.
Yeah,
and we'll answer.
A little side note to Discord. I do get personal messages like on the PlayStation Network and like on Facebook and all sorts of other social media sites. And I've been realizing lately it's taking me forever to respond to them, usually because notifications are off. Otherwise, I get too many notifications, and it's like I'm trying to sleep. And so it's no disrespect to anybody who I take a little while to respond to. But if you want a faster response, either join the Discord and send me a private message there, or join the Discord and just ask me a public message there. As part of the conversation. If you tag me, man, I usually show up within a few minutes. I'm like Beetlejuice. All right,
Brian Paul.
There I am, fucking ridiculous. I'm going to turn all your coffee into pee. I don't know. Beetlejuice was never a great wish granter. I mean, right?
That's true.
But a great movie. I'm going to go ahead and kick it off with the first question. We've got JCC-game capital M.
This is so unfair. You just didn't want to read the long one. That's why.
He posts within from the last viewer takeover says, "What, in your opinion?" And I know this is a hard choice. The best game at the moment, or best game coming in 2020. Looking for new games to buy. My personal favorite is I don't know. Hashtag viewer takeover like a pro.
I meant to ask you guys before starting the show. I would like to keep this as to games coming in 2020, so we can kind of look forward. Because I mean, I feel
how do we know what the best game coming in?
Because Brian did a poll.
Well, I did do a poll that's currently active. It'll be active for another like 36 hours or so. But that it's just based on previews, based on trailers. What are you most excited for? What looks like it's going to be the best game?
Right, because we don't know what the best game is going to be yet.
Right. So maybe what are you most excited for?
That's true.
That's the only fair way to say it, right?
Yeah.
So who wants to start?
Iron Man.
Iron Man is your most anticipated?
I think so. Yeah.
Why? What about it excites you the most?
Maybe Humanity. Or Iron Man.
Those are two drastically different games.
Very strange game. I know nothing about it. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but I'm very excited. Whereas Iron Man, I think I have a pretty good grasp on what it's gonna be, and I'm very excited about that as well. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm excited for both of those. I feel like I don't have a good enough grasp about what Iron Man is like moment to moment. I feel like that's
like this, and you fly around and you shoot.
If it's more like what you see in the trailer, where you're flying around in that city, if it's a lot of that, then hell yeah, sign me up. It's going to be amazing.
Oh yeah.
I want to know what the benefits to exploring the city are, or how much can you explore? It seems like it is going to be this open sandbox, but our big complaint about LA Noire, the VR case files, was you drive from one place to another and it's super fun to drive, but there's really nothing to do between missions. It's
very
like,
little.
Here's a mission. Here's another mission. There's no side crimes going on. There's no like little side missions to go on. So if Iron Man can sort of rectify that problem and make it give you a fun reason to explore the city, like again, Megaton Rainfall didn't, I'd be really curious to.
For sure.
That's going to make me more excited to play that game than just the flying and shooting.
Yeah, I'm not really tackling that game for the exploration, to be honest with you. I'm not expecting to have. It would be great to be able to have the freedom to fly around. But like exploration is not something I'm expecting of this game, unless there's like collectibles around and cool spots to fly in. But I'm expecting more of a story-driven, cinematic, action-packed kind of adventure.
A blood and truth kind of thing.
For sure.
Right.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna have to copy Coyote Gaming from Twitter, who posted on Twitter, and I'm going to have to say Dreams VR support, because I actually picked up Dreams and have been dabbling with it. Of course, I mainly play VR always, but I just, in anticipation of creating levels, getting the tools down, I've been dabbling in like 5 or 10 minutes a day, and we'll check out some of the creations. And my God, like there is stuff right away that is already super impressive. There's some incredible remakes already being done. Played everything from like Crazy Taxi remake to Sonic Adventure. Not a fully like done one, but like you'll get a lot of like basic texture stuff there. You should check out like that Fallout 4 remake. But man, if this game gets VR support, like this is going to have some crazy legs on it.
When
And
it's VR support.
Yeah.
yes,
How about so the question still though is how much how much VR support is Dreams getting? They said at the beginning it's going to get limited support, and then they sort of never really explained what that meant. So can you just create, or can you just play, or can you only play specific things that are only of a certain size or smaller? Like what are the limitations of the VR aspect going to be? And as much as I kind of regret not putting Dreams in the Twitter poll, because I think that might have won by a landslide. But but I think without knowing those answers keeps me from being totally excited about it.
yeah. I can understand that, but I'm optimistic. There was a picture of Shuhei playing it in VR the other day,
That was
and
great.
it was really cool to see. And they said it's nearly done. So, but just amazing work that this community, and it's building a community as well, which is really cool. So, everybody is waiting on PSVR support for that right now, and man, I got a feeling it's going to be something special. Everything I'm playing, I'm just like, this would be good with VR. This would be good with VR. This would be good with VR, and it would work well. So lots of things to look forward to. But yep, I have to steal that from Coyote Gaming. Shout out to you. Thank you for that. Because totally copped that from you.
I'll wait for Dave.
Brian, what's your most anticipated game?
I was waiting for Dave to come back.
Oh.
Doesn't he care what I think? He doesn't care what I think. All right, so my most anticipated game is.
I thought you said Dreams. Isn't it Dreams?
No, I did.
No.
What's yours, Brian?
I mean, so it's kind of it's kind of tough, man. I think I have to go with Sniper Elite VR.
Nice.
Ooh,
That is a
that's
game
good idea.
I keep forgetting is coming because they haven't really talked about it much recently.
Been dead silent.
But to have a AAA studio like that be working on a game that's a full-fledged Sniper Elite game that uses the aim controller, this is something we've all
Story driven.
we've all wanted for a long time, and I mean it's gonna be something special when it gets here. And so, I definitely I'm excited for The Room. I'm excited for Dreams. I'm excited for Iron Man. I'm excited for all these games. But this is the one, and I hope that maybe they give us a little
Walking
idea of when to expect. Yeah, no, I mean Saints and Sinners might be my second most anticipated, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But
when you did this poll, I was like, oh, like I haven't even voted because I'm like, I don't know.
it's too tough.
All of these look great. Like, really excited.
Yeah, Saints and Sinners looks unbelievable. But I think it's the fact that it's already out on PC VR, and to hear, oh, this game is great. There's almost
Right.
like it almost lessens the excitement level a little bit for me because I'm like, oh, okay, it's gonna be great. There's no, I just know it's gonna be great. I don't have to worry about anything.
Right.
When Sniper Elite comes out and we all get to experience it at the same time,
No idea.
there's a level of excitement there where we're experiencing it without hearing anything ahead of time that makes me more excited for it. Where I'm like,
It's understandable.
yeah. So, but yeah, all of those games are going to be amazing. It's going to be an awesome year for PlayStation VR.
Sniper Elite does look fantastic, set in a World
Yeah,
War II setting in Italy, and I think it's going to be the next like far point tier level game.
Yeah, very exciting, very exciting. All right, who's got the next question, Dave?
I got it. It's very long. This is a very long question. This comes from Bob Mack on the Discord. He says, #viewer takeover. VR is a fairly new technology in the residential market. As with most new technologies, you end up paying more in the beginning. CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays, etc. were all more expensive at the start. In the 80s, when video games really started taking off, a game would cost you $50, and a lot of those games were only an hour to 2 hours long. Batman NES, Golden Axe, Mickey's Castle of Illusion, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Castlevania 4, just to name a few. These were 1 to 2 hour games that cost $50 back then, and we didn't complain because we enjoyed the games. Now with VR games, the technology has actually brought us into the game. I'm still blown away when I put on the headset and play games in VR, yet I'm baffled by gamers whining and complaining about paying $20 or $30 for a good 2 or 3 hour PSVR game. Don't they realize how truly little they're paying for such awesome technology compared to what we paid back then? Do you think this culture of gamers feel too entitled with their expectations versus cost for VR games? Do you think gamers complain more about what VR isn't yet, instead of embracing what VR is and where it can take us in the future? Thanks, Brian, AJ, and Dave. That's a long fuck. There's like 8 questions.
I just realized I want you to convert every single book I have into audiobooks with your voice, because you were born to do that. That is a fantastic question, though. I know it's really long, and we try to keep them short here, but I'm glad you included it because it is a fantastic question, because it's actually something we brought up recently about things like Shadow Legend, where it's a fantastic game. It's a lot of fun, and it does so many things on a technical level that are just really impressive. But then the second people hear 4 hours, they're like, oh no, I'll wait for a sale, or some, not knowing what they're missing out on. And it is interesting. I don't think it's that it's necessarily entitled, but I like the second way he put it, that their expectations versus cost of games. I think he's right where he says, do you think gamers complain more about what VR isn't yet instead of embracing what VR is?
Absolutely.
And where it can take us in the future, I think is the most important key thing there.
Yeah. I think that's really important. I think a lot of people, like obviously Sony tried to keep VR as inexpensive as they possibly could this generation. And so that's why we're all stuck with those Move controllers. And I got to be honest, as someone who from the very beginning started a petition for Move controllers with analog sticks on it, right? Yeah. I knew the petition wasn't going to get the job done, but at the same time, I wanted Sony to hear our voice and say, this is something we want, right? And so here we are over 3 years later, and I'm the guy that's like, don't worry about it. Analog sticks are coming eventually, but you know what? This actually works really good for the time being. People complain about the light tracking and this or that, whatever. It's like, it's fine, man. It's like, this is Gen 1, and this is actually really good for the price we paid, and we don't need a super high-powered PC to play these games. And it's even unbelievable that it works at all. So, there's a level of that.
The price that people are paying now, too, is insane compared to what I paid. I bought it on launch day with no bundle, and it cost me like $800 to get everything.
Right.
It was so goddamn expensive.
Right. Somehow you had to piecemeal it together. Like I
had to piecemeal it together.
My bundle without
the whole thing
anything
for $300, like $250, $300
with games,
I think that's why
with Move controllers.
With games. Yeah.
I think that's why a lot of the narrative has changed as well, because the narrative before was VR is a gimmick, VR is a fad, VR is going to be dead, blah, blah, blah. Now it's become more affordable, and I think more people have gotten it, and you don't see that as much anymore. Now it's people just wanting to see it move forward versus not believing in it. And I think that price drop was a big deal. I think that price drop made it a lot more accessible to a lot of people and got it into their hands. But
they need to get they need to get those Black Friday and Christmas deals out for an everyday price. It needs to be $250 with the Move controllers and a few games in it, and manage to just get it into as many hands as possible. They must have seen a huge boost during that time, and they're doing themselves a disservice by not keeping that deal running. Like it was popular, and I can only imagine when people go, I can't get that Black Friday deal anymore, I'm going to wait for the next deal. Well, make that deal a regular thing.
So what do you think about his question though, where he says like NES games were 1 to 2 hour games that, mind you, were hard as balls?
That's the problem. They were intentionally hard as balls.
That's part of it.
Right.
Like it took you way more than 1 hour to get through the game the first time.
It took me months to get through those games.
Months to get to the end of Ninja Gaiden.
Oh yeah, you got your money's worth on those games because they were so goddamn hard.
Right. But people don't like that anymore. They lose interest real fast when it's too difficult.
Right.
Yeah, I do too now at this point.
Yeah. But as for pricing, when you put it into perspective, what do you guys think about the $20 or $30 for a 3 to 5 hour game versus a 60-hour AAA game that's $60 or whatever?
Well, we'd be having a much different conversation right now if Shadow Legend was a $50 or $60 game, right? But at $25, like most Uncharted games, not counting 4, which was fucking ridiculously long game. Most Uncharted games are $60, and how long did it take you to beat Uncharted 4? I saw that face.
Uncharted 4, I think it was only like 10 to 13 hours.
I was going to say it took me around like 13 or 14 hours to beat, and like every other Uncharted game for me was 8 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. And so
12, 13 hours.
And so when you say here's an Uncharted game that's 8 hours long and $60, and here's Shadow Legend, which is like 4 to 6 hours, if you want to get everything. I should say 4 hours because that's how long it takes to beat it.
Yeah,
it's $25. That's to me, that's a great deal, and that's in an awesome 4 hours too.
Not only that, but the point he's trying to make is it's something that's never been done before. It's in virtual reality, and the way that it looks, the level of detail and stuff. It's not a perfect game. I'm not saying it's a 10 out of 10, but it is something that's never been done before, and that's the difference to me. Is people are wanting, flat screen gaming has had 30, 40 years to evolve, and this has had 3 years. So it's unfair for a lot of people to expect to have the same be at the same place where the other has had 30 decades to evolve.
Dave, I feel like you have something. You have something
I
cooking.
don't. I no, I don't actually.
Well,
It's a great question, though.
I do want to add to this. We get into kind of a dangerous territory, right? Like we've seen so many examples of awesome games from not awesome VR games, awesome PSVR games, from not only like small dev teams but also like big AAA studios. We've seen a good range, and we've seen awesome games, and we've seen not so good games, and we've seen really bad games. And so you tread a dangerous line when you want to give developers an excuse for anything. Be like, well, it's new. Well, it's a small dev team. Well, it's this. Well, it's that. And it's like, fine, that's cool, except when you're charging money for your game, then you have to deliver something at least fun, right? It doesn't have to be triple A polished everything all the time, but man, it has to. You have to, if you're charging anything, you have to deliver.
It can't be Arc Park. It can't be Arc Park.
It can't
Right.
be Arc Park. Right.
There's two things I look for. Is it a good game or a good experience? And when it's both of those, you get Astrobot, you get Resident Evil 7, you get like the persistence and stuff.
You get Shadow Legend, which was a two-person dev team, and it was one of the most unbelievable VR experiences we've had yet.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I think there's a lot like when it's a good game, tends to have more length, tends to have more deeper gameplay mechanics. When it's a good experience, it's something, Blood and Truth was also, in my opinion, a really great game, but it was the experience that lasted with me, I think, from that. So it has to excel in one or the other, or be a good balance of both, or excel in both. Is once they start excelling in both areas as a great experience and a really long game, then it's going to be VR games are going to start knocking it out of the park, and we will get there.
Yeah, we've seen already some great evolution of small studios. Not to keep talking about Vitruvius, but I mean their first game was Marbles, and that was a fun 3D platformer. And then literally a year or two later, Shadow Legend. And so we can't wait to see what these guys do next, right? They're already talking about their next game being an open world sci-fi game, PS5. I mean this is how the evolution of studios should go. We every single game that they make should be better than the last one, or that's what you hope, and I'm sure that's what they hope too. And so, it's just what we want to see. I have nothing against small dev teams. I love small dev teams.
Love indie games.
Love indie games. I might love indie games more than I love AAA games.
I kind of did too.
But you also have to deliver. The second you start charging for something, you have to be prepared. There will be scrutiny, and we are going to judge your game based on the ecosystem that it gets released in. And in the ecosystem of PlayStation VR is vast at this point. There are 500 PlayStation VR games, and man, there's a lot of good ones. So the competition is already high. So that's why, like, even though it might seem like we're, entitled, or it might seem like we're too harsh, we just want to make sure that everybody knows what they're getting for their money.
What are you talking about? All right, next question, Brian.
I have no idea what you mean. Right? Oh, I haven't read a question yet. I'm so not used to this. Okay, here we go. This one comes from Game Cats Market. And this comes from a viewer takeover episode, #viewer takeover. Okay, so recently Brian had an interview with the developers of Shadow Legends. This must be the Vitruvius episode. And one thing that stood out to me was when they told Brian that it took the PS4 port like 10 months. I think this brings up an interesting conversation about why some games just don't come to PS4 or get less support. And I wanted your guys' thoughts on it. Thanks again. You guys think?
So I think we've kind of talked about this before. I think in terms of Sony's QA process and having to be able to run on the original PS4.
That's a huge
which is
problem.
That's a huge problem.
6.5-year-old tech, right?
Exactly. And so I think with PS5 we'll see a lot less of that because everybody will be on a stronger platform. and there won't be so much of like, hey, we can't really get this through QA. This isn't running at a proper frame rate, all that kind of stuff that a lot of games that have intended to come to PSVR never made it because of that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, with PS5, I think this will be kind of a moot point.
Hopefully. I know Brian has been like swinging at that theory for a minute now. And, for me, somebody asked me recently, how come Fallout isn't on PSVR? And I'd
It doesn't
imagine
even run well on PCs, man.
yeah, and that's basically it. Same with Subnautica, although Subnautica could maybe be different. I remember Adam Creighton, the head guy at Panic Button, was saying if there's enough demand, we will consider bringing Subnautica to PSVR. And it seemed like everybody was talking about it, nonstop. But I wonder if there just wasn't enough people at the time. This was a while ago, so I wonder if maybe there just wasn't enough people being vocal at the time and creating that demand, or at least showing that there is the demand, which I think is why it's important that we have this amazing community behind us that we're building, so that when there's stuff that people really want or people would want, that we can help get the message out and help spread the word and give these developers the support and exposure they need to get the support and stuff that they need to be able to do this thing. But again, Subnautica and Fallout both reportedly did not run very well on PC VR. So it could be a matter of performance. It could be a cost, a time thing. It could be a bevy of factors.
Ooh, a bevy. That's good. I like that.
Maybe.
Yeah, I've talked to a bunch of developers lately. I've been what I've been doing behind the scenes is reaching out to a lot of PC developers and saying, "Man, your game looks so good. I can't. Your game on PC VR looks like so much fun. I know that our viewers, like our audience, our PlayStation VR, every PlayStation VR owner out there would want to play this game. Like, what are your plans?" And almost unilaterally, they're responding the same way. They're saying, "We tried." It's not like they're like, we just didn't want to. Like, we tried and we couldn't get it working. The physics, this or that, whatever. And it's just going to be too hard or impossible, And again, a lot of small dev teams here. And so it's not like you look at something like Resident Evil and you're like, it looks so amazing. How could other developers not do this? Because they don't have the Capcom budget behind them. Right. Yeah. So it's a tough situation, but almost universally they're saying PS5 is an option, right. or that is now our focus. And so I really think we're going to see a huge influx of all these PC VR games that we've been looking at going, that looks really good. I wonder if that's going to be any fun. It sounds like we're going to finally get to play a lot of them very soon. And man, that is, for me, that's so exciting because of course, you're always looking over the fence going, I'm curious about that title,
Yeah. If you remember, I brought this up before too. PS4 was one of the first platforms that was very indie friendly. PS3 had a lot of trouble with the development cycle, with porting, stuff like that. That was one of the initiatives they took with PS4, saying we are going to support independent developers, and especially having good old Shuhei at the head of that now, who's known to be a fan of PSVR. That means a lot of good things for us moving forward, that they will have that in mind for this new console that they're building. And I think just like last generation, this is an issue that came up during this generation and will be addressed during the next one.
Right. Yeah, these are things you just don't know about when you're designing a PlayStation 4.
Well, when did they start designing the PS4? Like, God, probably 10, 15 years ago? Who knows?
I mean, it's been out for almost, we're going to be coming up on 7 years. And right. I mean,
they were not preparing for these kinds of issues. I can guarantee that, but they are now.
Right. It's PS5 is going to be pretty amazing by all accounts. All right, you guys, I think we're already over our time, so let's get a move on. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. Thank you to all the Game Cats watching. Thank you to everybody who changed your name. Remember, hashtag GameCat. If you change your name on YouTube, something to GameCat, hashtag GameCat in the comments so we can give you a shout out in next week's show. Also, if you have a viewer takeover question, leave it in the comments as well. Hashtag viewer takeover, all one word, or do this anyway, join our Discord. The link's in the description. Obviously, we want to see you there and hang out. The conversation over there happens 24/7, and it's always bonkers.
Boy, does it!
It's stupid, and I love every second.
I've been drawn into it, man. I was like at work. I mean, you even commented at me.
I was
today,
like, it must have been a slow day.
Yeah, I mean, I was at work, and just there's so many good conversations. The Discord is booming.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much. Love y'all.
So click that link in the description, join the Discord server, and also, if you care to, patreon.com/withoutparolegames. Thank you. For just $1 or more every month, guys. Like, you really, your support means everything. But also follow me on Twitter, and you can help support the channel by buying some of my old video games.
Keep up with that Twitter, man. I'm loving to see how active you are on Twitter. You do a great job with it, man.
I'm doing my best. I'm
really,
not a social media person, and I'm trying to be a social media person.
You are natural then, because you are very good, and I love seeing your tweets.
Awesome. Well, I love seeing your tweets. Also, guys, I always forget to do this. Make sure that you check the description to go follow or subscribe. Subscribe to Dave at Dave Station VR. Click the link in the description to follow AJ. Subscribe to him at PSVR Underground. And I'm assuming you're already subscribed to Without Parole, or what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah,
but either way, man, like I love these guys, and you need to show them your support.
Cats are the best, man.
All right. Good night, Dave. Good night, AJ. My name's Brian, and we're out.
Good night, folks.
Real quick. All right, here we go. Wait. you did that just to fuck with me.
Best timing,
right?
Best timing possible.
I can wait. You good? All right.